Have you ever stood before a place so beautiful that it felt almost unreal? A place where every wall seemed to hide a secret and every shadow carried the memory of a forgotten age. Welcome to Alhambra Palace. Perched high above the city of Granada, Spain, the magnificent Alhambra has fascinated travelers, historians, and dreamers for centuries. Millions visit its stunning halls every year, admiring the intricate carvings, elegant courtyards, and breathtaking views. But behind its beauty lies a hidden truth that many people never discover. Tonight, we journey back in time to uncover the mystery. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. If you love hidden history, ancient mysteries, and forgotten legends, you're in the right place. Now, let's step into the past. The story begins more than 700 years ago. During the Middle Ages, southern Spain was ruled by Muslim kingdoms known as Al-Andalus. Among these kingdoms, Granada stood as one of the last strongholds. Its rulers dreamed of creating something that would outlast time itself, a palace unlike any the world had ever seen. Under the rule of the Nasrid Dynasty, construction of Alhambra expanded into a masterpiece of architecture and art. Yet this palace was never meant to be just a royal residence. That is where the hidden truth begins. From a distance, Alhambra appears delicate and peaceful. Its courtyards are filled with fountains. Its halls glow with sunlight. Poetry covers its walls like a flowing river. But beneath this beauty was a powerful message. Every room, every inscription, and every design was carefully planned to display the authority of the Nasrid rulers. Visitors entering the palace would immediately be overwhelmed. The walls seemed alive with geometric patterns. Water flowed endlessly through channels and fountains. Sunlight reflected across polished surfaces. To ordinary people, it felt like entering paradise itself. And that was exactly the intention. The rulers wanted every guest to believe they possessed divine wisdom, immense wealth, and unshakable power. The palace was a political masterpiece disguised as a work of art. Yet another mystery remained hidden within its walls. Throughout Alhambra, Arabic inscriptions appear everywhere. Many tourists admire them without understanding their meaning. One phrase repeats again and again. There is no victor except God. The words appear hundreds of times. Why? Because despite their wealth and power, the Nasrid rulers lived in constant fear. Enemies surrounded them. Christian kingdoms advanced from the north. Political rivals threatened from within. Their kingdom was shrinking year after year. The magnificent palace that looked eternal was actually built during a time of uncertainty. Alhambra wasn't a symbol of confidence. It was a desperate attempt to preserve a fading civilization. The rulers knew their world might not survive. So they poured all their knowledge, culture, and artistic genius into one final masterpiece. In many ways, Alhambra became a message to future generations. A message saying, "We were here." As decades passed, the palace grew even more beautiful. New courtyards were added. Elegant halls appeared. Gardens bloomed with exotic plants. Water systems carried fresh mountain water throughout the complex. The engineering was astonishing. But hidden beneath the luxury was anxiety. Every celebration inside the palace occurred against the backdrop of war. Every banquet echoed with uncertainty. Every ruler wondered whether he would be the last. Then came the turning point. In 1492, one of the most important years in world history, Granada surrendered to Christian forces led by King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella I. The Muslim rule of Granada ended. The keys to Alhambra were handed over. For the first time, the palace belonged to new rulers. Many expected the palace to be destroyed. After all, it represented the previous kingdom. But something extraordinary happened. The conquerors were captivated by its beauty. Instead of erasing it completely, they preserved much of it. As a result, Alhambra survived when many other medieval treasures vanished forever. Yet the hidden truth became even deeper. The palace transformed into a symbol of two worlds colliding. Islamic art, Christian history, and centuries of cultural exchange became intertwined within its walls. Every stone carried multiple stories. Every courtyard reflected both triumph and loss. And that dual identity remains one of Alhambra's greatest mysteries. Visitors often see only beauty. Few recognize the sadness hidden beneath it. Because Alhambra is not merely a palace. It is the memory of an entire civilization fighting against time. As the sun sets over Granada and shadows stretch across ancient courtyards, the palace seems to whisper the same question it has asked for centuries. Can anything truly last forever? The answer waits in Chapter 2. The year was 1492. The gates of Granada had opened. The banners had changed. The kingdom that built Alhambra was gone. But the palace remained. And with it survived a secret that time itself could not erase. If you're enjoying this journey into hidden history, don't forget to subscribe and support the channel. Every subscription helps bring more incredible stories from the past to life. Now let's continue. When Christian rulers entered Alhambra, they expected to find a royal fortress. Instead, they discovered something extraordinary. The palace felt different from anything in Europe. Its beauty wasn't based on giant statues or massive monuments. Instead, its power came from harmony. Water. Light. Geometry. Poetry. Silence. Everything worked together to create an experience unlike any other. Visitors often described feeling as though they had stepped into a dream. But why? The answer reveals the deepest truth behind Alhambra. The palace was designed around an idea. Not wealth. Not military power. Not conquest. An idea. The creators wanted to recreate paradise on earth. In Islamic tradition, paradise is often described as a garden filled with flowing water, beauty, balance, and peace. The architects of Alhambra transformed that vision into reality. The famous Court of the Lions became one of the greatest examples. 12 marble lions supported a fountain at its center. Water flowed gently through channels in 4 directions. Every detail symbolized order and harmony. The palace wasn't merely a building. It was a spiritual experience. But history had other plans. After the conquest, many changes occurred. Some structures disappeared. Others were altered. New buildings rose nearby. Yet somehow the heart of Alhambra survived. Then another threat emerged. Neglect. Over the centuries, parts of the palace fell into ruin. Rooms stood empty. Gardens became overgrown. Earthquakes caused damage. Wars threatened destruction. At times, it seemed inevitable that Alhambra would vanish forever. During the Napoleonic Wars, soldiers occupied parts of the complex. Explosives damaged sections of the fortress. The future looked uncertain. Yet once again, the palace endured. Almost as if history itself refused to let it die. By the 19th century, travelers from across Europe began rediscovering its beauty. Writers, artists, and explorers arrived in Granada. Among them was Washington Irving, whose writings introduced Alhambra to a global audience. His stories transformed the palace into a symbol of mystery and romance. People became fascinated. They wanted to see the legendary palace for themselves. As interest grew, preservation efforts increased. Experts worked tirelessly to protect the complex. Damaged areas were restored. Historical research uncovered forgotten details. Slowly, Alhambra regained its place among the world's greatest treasures. Yet the most important secret remained hidden in plain sight. The true power of Alhambra was never its architecture. It was its message. Empires rise. Empires fall. Kings gain power. Kings lose power. Borders change. Armies disappear. But creativity survives. The people who built Alhambra lost their kingdom. Their rulers vanished. Their political power ended. Yet their art continues to inspire millions centuries later. That is the hidden truth behind Alhambra Palace. The palace is proof that culture can outlive conquest. Beauty can outlast conflict. Ideas can survive long after empires collapse. Every carved wall tells that story. Every fountain whispers that lesson. Every courtyard reminds visitors that greatness is not measured only by military victories. Sometimes greatness is measured by what humanity leaves behind. Today, travelers walk through halls once occupied by kings. Children play where ancient rulers planned their futures. Photographers capture sunlight dancing across walls carved centuries ago. The palace remains alive. Not because its creators won history's battles, but because they created something unforgettable. And perhaps that is why Alhambra continues to fascinate us. It speaks to something universal. The desire to leave a mark. The hope that our creations will endure. The dream that something beautiful can survive the passage of time. As evening falls over Granada, golden light washes across the ancient walls. The fountains continue to flow. The gardens continue to bloom. And the palace continues to tell its story. A story of ambition. A story of loss. A story of survival. A story hidden behind one of the most beautiful places on earth. The hidden truth behind Alhambra Palace is not about a building. It is about the people who dared to dream beyond their own lifetime. And centuries later, their dream still stands. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more fascinating mysteries, forgotten histories, and incredible legends from around the world, subscribe to the channel and join us on the next adventure. Because history always has another secret waiting to be uncovered.